And sometimes here in Brazil, including we had here a conversation with the Patricia, and she said that the challenge is to build up a program for it.
Yeah.
And Brazilian companies doesn't have many options to do that. Producing office being here. You are here.
Yes.
I'm believing that you can make that happen. So how is it? How is Brazilian market for you in this operation?
So I would say I'm excited about the prospects that we have, and yes, there are not that many options for customers in Brazil that are looking for international programs. But since December of last year, there's one more, and that's us. So we're very happy that we can now offer international programs for our three major lines of business, which are property, casualty, and D&O on the FinPro side. So we're actively in the marketplace talking with customers, talking with brokers about what we can offer to them. What we see a lot of is looking at those customers that want to have an international program. Maybe they just want to have a South American program if they're a multi-Latina company, or if they just want to handle this region of their exposures on their own program. We also have a lot that are doing what I talked about kind of at the beginning, where they're buying their own individual policies. Maybe they've grown as a company. They started in Brazil, and then they expanded, and they have an office in Argentina or Uruguay or Colombia, wherever it might be. And nobody's even told them, you have the option of doing an international program. You don't have to buy standalone policies. So a lot of what I've been doing on my visits here since we started producing business in Brazil has been talking to brokers and customers about the options, just letting them know that they have the option to structure a program this way. And there are a few carriers in the marketplace that will offer this. And I think the more success that we see, the more we're going to see the interest from the customers and the brokers grow.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry, William. And when you are underwriting or analyzing the global programs in other countries like South America, for example, Argentina or Chile or another country, how you handle like the economic and political things in that countries? It's important to stay alert or to understand how is going on in these countries.
No, absolutely, and you guys are underwriters, so the job is to evaluate and understand the risk that you have. And when you're an international underwriter, you expand that by the number of countries in the world that you have to have some knowledge of what's going on. So you spend a lot of time looking at the news.
Yeah.
You have Google alerts set on your computer for the countries where your biggest exposures are. And as you're underwriting the risk, as you get a submission in from the broker and you're going through it, a big part of it is the technology that the carrier has to have to make sure the underwriter has the tools that they need at their disposal for modeling that risk when possible, or for understanding or flagging where you might have a country that has an increased risk for a certain hazard, no matter what line of business you're talking about. And I think that's a critical part, because that single underwriting aspect that I talked about earlier, I talked about the positives of it, but it can also be a negative. You have to know that the underwriter that's working on this risk has control of the risk that they're facing in all of these countries, and it can change quickly. So you have to make sure that you have an understanding of the coverage that you're providing and how it might work. And while an unforeseen circumstance by definition is not going to be able to be predicted, you have to think at least about the possibility of what might happen and how you're going to respond and how your policies are going to respond when something does.
Yeah, the world is changed so fast, so...
Yeah, no, exactly.
Are there many surprises during the year? For example, here in Brazil, this year, we had a new law that changed a little bit the marine insurance. You face it a lot in other countries, etc.
We definitely do.
Really? I thought it was exclusive on Brazil.
I can tell you that even before I had Brazil under my responsibility, I had a lot of fun dealing with all the changes in Brazil. But you're not unique in the world in that there are a lot of countries that can change their rules, and it's something that you have to stay abreast of as an international carrier. In fact, we, along with probably most of our competitors in this space, have an entire team dedicated to monitoring changes in regulations around the world. So we have lawyers, we have international experts, we have policy language experts, that their job is to watch for changes that are happening, to monitor when SUSEP or the equivalent in another country issues a new regulation. What does this mean for us? How do we need to adapt? What do we need to tell our customers so that we make sure that we're still providing what we've promised to them? And what do we have to tell our underwriters, to your earlier question, so that they understand that the risk profile has shifted. And so we have to have some additional considerations in these countries. So yeah, there's always surprises. In a way, and I'm a little biased because of what I do, and I chose it, but it's kind of the fun of international too. It's not just the same old thing every time, and it's, we're coming up on November 1st, so that means I'm going to see these 5 renewals again. And we love all of our customers, but it's kind of fun to have the changes of what goes on in an international program to kind of keep you on your toes as an underwriter or a service person or whatever role you're fulfilling.